Welcome boys and girls, Christine here with Mother Ostankya in Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires and how to play her campaign. Specifically how to play her campaign if you're looking to go back to Kislev. Which I would personally recommend because there are many significant benefits in Kislev and really is very fitting for Ostankya to do so. So there's going to be a couple of things that you want to do in this campaign from pretty much the very beginning. First off, you want to declare war on this minor Dark Elven faction that Morathi starts at war with. And you also want to use the load save character system with the Frost Maiden over here in this settlement, in your initial settlement. You can play a campaign of Realms of Chaos, Castalton would be my recommendation. Get a bunch of characters loaded and saved, and then load them up in, or saved in that campaign, and load them up in Ostankya's campaign in Immortal Empires. The best traits early on in a campaign, later on it's a bit of a different discussion, but early on it's Logisticon for campaign movement range, Glacial Blaster for Winds of Magic cost reduction, reducing spell resistance, Winds of Magic benefit, and Economist for reducing recruitment cost. Now you want to get this Frost Maiden in the Bleak Hold Fortress. Now, here's an interesting tidbit. Any hero or lord that you have in the Bleak Hold Fortress will be teleported with you to Kislev when you get the event, but anyone here in the forests will not. You can use this to your advantage. Research-wise, you want to start getting Ice Sculpting for that Frost Maiden capacity, even if you're using the load save character system. Do you need to use the load save character system? No, but it is going to be an incredible benefit, and you want to take advantage of everything that you can. Now, with regards to Ostankya's combat capability, you do start with some Kisevite warriors, Akshina's incarnate elemental of beasts, Thing in the Woods, cave bats, giant spiders. The way you should treat these units is like, yeah, the big single entity, flankers, flying maneuverability, heavily armored cavalry. That's how I would, by the way, treat giant spiders. They're not really an infantry unit, though they can serve that purpose. I would see them more as a cav unit than an infantry unit, though they can hold their own in pure melee. They have the armor, they have the durability, they have those poison attacks. But for my part, I would recommend using them for flanking maneuverability. I would use Kislev warriors and armor consars for the sake of line holding. But Ostankya has a very substantial benefit in that she starts with Hag Witch that can summon things in the woods for the sake of flanking capability, and she's a ranged, fast-moving skirmisher. She has fire while moving, her Hag Witch has fire while moving. On top of that, she has the capability of destroying walls. Only she has it, her Hag Witches don't. So, okay, when you start this campaign, I would firmly recommend you fight as many of the early game battles or every single early game battle manually. The key to winning, because you want to reduce casualties. If you take too many casualties in battles, that will affect your strength ranking, and that will make it far more likely that many factions will declare war on you. And given your position in Kislev, you obviously want to avoid that happening. After fighting these two battles, you should not really take too much damage. Just be aware of the Hydra. You can use your incarnate elemental of beast to handle that situation because it's pretty solid against the Hydra, though you do want to do a lot of damage with Ostankya's skirmishing capability before you engage that in melee. Make sure you get Inspiring Presence. You want that experience per turn from that, and also recruit a lord over here. I'd recommend really anything, a boyar, but don't use the load save character system over here because whatever lord you recruit here, you will not get to keep, and get some Cossar recruitment over here. We did get the Woodsman Hut. I did sack this settlement, but we are not going to keep this settlement. You do want to craft invocations, incantations every single turn that you are playing this campaign, and you also want to use the corruption benefit over here. You just want to use these things constantly in order to unlock Ostankya's top bar abilities because they are going to give you a good amount of strength. Crucially, you want to get access to teleportation very quickly during the course of this campaign. So, okay, that is turn 1 of this campaign. That's pretty much all we can do over here in Nagrand. So you just want to take the settlement, deal with the opposing enemy army, get some console recruitment, have a Frost Maiden through the load save character system, have a Bayar in the other settlement, because he should not be teleported. If he does get teleported, if Creative Assembly ever changes that, you might want to just recruit an Ice Witch Lord. So anyway, we do get this choice. We want to return to Kislev. It is very beneficial to return to Kislev over here in this campaign. So as I stated, anything that's in this region of the Bleak Hold, I guess she didn't? What is this nonsense? It's just weird. So, okay. Sometimes they get teleported, other times they don't. I don't know. Like, a lord that you recruit in the Bleak Hold Fortress will be teleported, but not a hero. Anyway, I guess we can use that one for a bit of scouting, then we dismiss her, because just reasons, I admit, like, is a weird freaking dynamic. The reason I recruited the hero there is I had hoped to be able to use a hero to just attach to an army. But regardless, we're just going to recruit another one over here. And then we go for this settlement. Now, the reason you want to reclaim that settlement in the Bleak Hold is because it becomes your capital. And so as a result of that, you can then use that for the sake of being able to trade Plesk to Prague. See, that is the key over here. You want to start building these kind of agreements with Prague because you want to confederate Prague as quickly as you possibly can. And so if you can trade Plesk, that is a pretty solid advantage. If you can't trade Plesk, you can still handle it. That's not really going to be too much of an issue. But regardless, the Norsemen over here have taken over the settlement. You will have to find this manually. I would firmly recommend you find this manually, because otherwise, yeah, you would take too many casualties and it would affect you in a very negative way. So let's go over find this battle. Okay, so with respect to finding this battle, you just, and this is just going to be a general battle strategy for Ostankya. You put the majority of your army in a relatively safe position, and then you send Ostankya to start doing harassment from long range. That is really the key if you're looking to play Ostankya. Just put your guys over here in the back, and then send her to do a bit of harassment. Careful about ranged units, because those can be a bit of an annoyance, especially like if it's, you know, Marauder freaking horsemen. That I guess are part of the garrison. But regardless, you just want to ensure that those guys are dealt with. And not every unit is obviously going to be equal in terms of their combat capability. But yeah, Ostankya's baseline spell, her Witch Brew, is actually a really good, solid spell over here that she can use to destroy a lot of the enemy with extreme prejudice. Her Hag Witch can also summon things in the woods. So if you're looking for that kind of solid benefit, like for instance, we would summon some things in the woods over here to just, like, you know, harass the enemy. Okay, so we do want to get those Marauders. Now, you can see that they're getting closer and closer, so we will take some damage over here in this battle. That is a bit unavoidable. But the more you can harass them before they engage, the better off you will be. So that's just the key of fighting battles as Ostankya, any kind of battle. Okay, right here on turn 3, you should be able to attack Volksgrad. Or you hopefully would be able to attack Volksgrad, but I guess apparently it won't happen at this point. Although we can draw in some fellows right there. Bit of a shame with regards to that, but you do want to construct a barracks. Make sure you construct a barracks right here. Get some unit recruitment. And you should, by the way, be safe to rebuild this settlement over there. Now, if Plus gives your provincial capital, then obviously that ends up working differently. So if they fix that, that's going to be a bit different, but it just means you won't be able to trade Plus for Prague, but you can still get the Confederation of Prague. It just will be a bit different. The goal, however, remains the same. You want to get that Confederation of Prague very quickly in the course of this campaign. The reason is you want, one, to protect them against fraud, so you can do a bunch of region trading. I'd recommend taking Volsgrad or maybe the entire province before you do anything like that. So just, yeah, start getting deals with Katrin. Or maybe delay a bit those kind of deals with Katrin because it might benefit you. Once ice sculpting is finished, the next thing you want to pick up is actually Sympathetic Undergrowth for campaign movement range, and then also get Troll Country Pathfinder. So between the Frost Maidens you can recruit, as well as the Ice Witch Lords, the research, you can get a significant amount of campaign movement range. This will also work very well later on in your campaign with certain other things. So regardless here, you do want to take Volsgrad. You might just stomach auto-resolving this, though keep in mind, you will take much heavier casualties if you do fight this, if you do auto-resolve it, as opposed to just fighting it manually. You can also trade some of these elements back and forth, and maybe get these guys to actually commit to a war against some other factions. That in turn will allow you to get Confederation easier done with them. The reason it will be easier is because the more stuff you trade with them, the better your diplomatic relations. The better your diplomatic relations, the better off you'll be. So I guess the Prague has lost its penalty with regards to Confederation, or its diplomatic penalty with regard. Well, it's still there actually. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Regardless, so there is a bit of a penalty with that. Now over here, just what you're really interested in doing here is, one, you want to get Akshina. Two, you want to get Orthodoxy Shrine. Well, you could skip on getting Akshina. You don't necessarily need them. But you may want to get Armor Cossars and a Patriarch, and then just build an army over here to take the Bleak Coast. But the reason you shouldn't be concerned about this situation is you get a peace agreement, so for a couple of turns, you will be perfectly fine over here in terms of them not declaring war on you. And make sure you're always going to the Witch's Hut every single turn and doing that every single freaking turn. I know, it is annoying, it is frustrating, it's not especially a great mechanic, I gotta say. So anyway, close victory right here, but we could win this with no casualties. I guess it depends, like what kind of casualties are we looking at? I can take that. So you may want to get some Kislavite warriors over here. And just get that Frost Maiden to go north. Although you might want to be a bit careful on how you use her, because there might be that army. Regardless of that, if we look at Prague, we could get them to get involved in even more wars over there. Get that Freezing Wind benefit. And get another Frost Maiden load save character system. Just get an insane level of campaign movement range through Frost Maidens. Where's another one? Because I'm pretty damn sure I have another one with a good trait. Not that one. Yeah, I think I would have preferred having Glacial Blaster, but I don't have another one with Glacial Blaster. I got screwed over by that entire situation. Regardless, money, not an issue, not a problem. We can even get a peace agreement with these guys. We don't need to fight a war with these guys anymore. So it's like we can just leave Prague to deal with that situation. That would be a really good thing for us. So the way you gain money, like money can be issue early on. Some people are gonna have a problem with, you know, using some of these tactics, but look, Confederation is a core gameplay mechanic. You may not like that specific statement, but it is a reality. Confederation is a core gameplay mechanic. If you're playing a Kislev campaign, especially given the fact that they don't have Confederation penalties in the way other factions do, then I think you're playing Kislev wrong. You should lean toward towards the Orthodoxy. The reason you want to go for the Orthodoxy is you want to get Endless March for the 10% campaign movement range. So you're looking at 15% campaign movement range faction-wide, then we're certainly going to turn it into 20% campaign movement range faction-wide. Okay, so right here, we want to retake that settlement. That particular settlement. And start rebuilding here. Okay, so move her right there to the north. Now, why are we going so far north? Don't we need to go somewhere else, right? Well, we kind of do, but we also have other things on our plate. One of the key aspects here is we want to ensure we get Malachi on our side. See, Malachi can be a great ally for Kislev, but you kind of need to get him to actually do shit in the first place. And so what we're going to want to do is we want to get that shrine. So in order to get him to do stuff, you need to give him territory. I don't know why his AI is so limited in a lot of different respects. So anyway, we can maybe trade... We could actually trade the Etkich to them, funnily enough. Yeah, let's just trade the Etkich and then trade Plesk for Etkich. You don't want to get an alliance with these guys instantly. So Plesk for Etkich. And have them join a war. Although, it's gonna be tricky getting them to join all the wars that you want. Sometimes can be pretty annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Though the more territory you trade to these guys, okay, we want Yetkich back, more importantly. Okay. So where are we? 167. No, Volsgrad will be the point that I accept that. Well, it's kind of pointless to rebuild the Etkich because we're just going to trade it back to them anyway. So, make of that what you will. Switch this one. Start getting more regular coster. So money, that's how you gain money. You get Prague to pay for your shit. End the turn. And you just want to take the 2 ports to the north over there. The reason is, 1, it will give you vision with multiple other factions. 2, it will give you, crucially, vision with Boris Ursus, Archeon, Arbol, and all that. So you can kind of decide the course of things. You may want to save at certain points with regards to Confederation, because sometimes it can be pretty annoying to ensure certain Confederations. Okay, so we trade Volsgrad. We get these guys, hopefully, to join our wars over here. That won't quite be enough to get the Confederation going, but there are things we can do even further to pull that off. Alright, so we got the diplomatic relations benefit with Ice Court. We can now attack the ports. So we can get that decisive victory. And I can do this in different ways. It depends a bit on what Mr. Front over here is just going to decide to do. We could just take it. Yeah, let's just take it. That gives us vision with Boris Ursus. And allows us to declare war on another faction over here. Get a Marcher, Inspiring Presence, all that kind of stuff. Let's see if they're willing to take the bait with regards to Yetkich. Not quite. Another thing we can do here is declare war. Like, one of the reasons you want to get the Frozen Landing, you can then declare war on the Ogres. And through the Ogres, you might have a couple of other opportunities as well. You can also declare war on the Exquisite Pain. Though, be mindful, Prague does have its limits on what they're willing to go to war with. So keep that aspect in mind. You're also going to suffer by not having a Patriarch as quickly as possible. But yeah, make sure you get those trinkets. Keep constructing these trinkets every single turn. It's going to be exceptionally useful. So remove corruption over here. Remove the penalties. You can go for the Lair of the Troll King if you want to. You may also want to... rebuild the frozen landing right here. It's gonna cost some money though. Okay, so at this point, this would be a crucial stage in which you can save. Either things can go very well over here, or things can go badly. So you want to ensure that these guys, again, join as many wars as you possibly can get them to join in on. Various options, various possibilities over here. So it's like, you know, get Prague to join in on the fun. So it's not quite enough just yet. But we're getting there. We're very, very close. It would be nice to get it done this turn. I won't lie about that, but... sometimes you can't control the way things work. With Ostankya, you want to spend these points, get firing drills, and then save up for the special skill line that she does have, because it's pretty useful. Well, specifically Hag Witch recruitment in all provinces, capacity, ambush, success chance. You can also get embodiment of force, so I would just save on skill points, especially when you don't have a battle to fight in a turn. For Frost Maidens, like, just get your regular skills, Hailstorm, Freezing Winds, Buying Wind. And then you can decide to wait and see how things are going to shape up over here. It will be slower to Confederate Prague, again, without having control of the settlement there. So, yeah, that could be a bit complicated. But you do want the ports over here. Yep, there we go. And they decided not to join in the fun over there. Sometimes that does happen. But it's not necessarily a downside for me. Like, fraud... not really an issue, honestly. But it does mean that I will have to do a couple of things differently. So if Fraud doesn't declare war on you... okay, so we start moving her there. And we sell this port to Malachi. As you can see, like, we're very, very close to a confederation with them. So all we'd really need is one good blow, and it would be over. Alright, just keep constructing stuff. Fraud can be a problem. But if you gain Prague, then who cares, really? And yeah, you do want to get that frozen landing and sell that to Malachi. That might give you a military alliance with him, by the way. Now, why do you want a military alliance with Malachi? Well, you want a military alliance so that when Arbel declares war on you, and he will, you have someone to soak the damage that Arbel can do. You can also declare war on Arbel before he declares war on Boris Ursus. One of the advantages in a campaign to understand AI behavior, if the AI is at war with a faction, they're not necessarily going to pick wars with other factions. And yeah, as I stated, you can get fricking Prague. There we go. Mission accomplished. GG, well played. In this dynamic. So what do we do now? Well, we got some troops over here. We gotta be careful, though. If Fraud attacks Prague right here, we can beat the shit out of him. We can even put an Ataman, get an extra bit of advantage right here, no problem. Sell these barracks in this territory right here. Money, yeah, bit of an issue, but we can deal with that. We can really deal with that, like non-aggression pact with some people over here. Alright, so Boris is still at war. Let's see if we can sell Frozen Landing. Not quite. So once we finish Frozen Landing, we will be able to declare war right there. We can also declare war on Skeggy through the Bleak Holds. And Skeggy might be willing to submit, if you will. Ideally, in this context, you wait, you get a military alliance with... you get the military alliance with Malachi, and then... and then you declare... Okay, so Gormandi tribe, Ostermark... What options? Options. That is not really a great option, not gonna lie. Yeah, you may run out of money just a bit. I could... Yeah, I'm gonna delay Yetkich. So sometimes you just have no choice. Just, again, keep building these things. Sometimes the choices are made for you, unfortunately. But yeah, with the Frozen Landing, that's gonna give me a good amount of money from Malachi. So if Arbol does not declare war on me at this point, then we will be able to... Yeah. So Front may have just ran away, or he may have... I think he ran away, actually, in that context. We gotta be a bit careful with Front on Klein, though. Because he can be a fucking nuisance. Alright. So now we can declare war on Arbol. Yeah, we will declare war on Arbol. Alright, just gonna take some of the bats and Kossars right here. We're going to have to fix the supply line situation. This is where things can get a bit critical, if you will. You know, just that lack of money for a bit of time. We can solve that though. Various options like declaring war on Terranok, for instance. And then maybe getting some peace agreements over there, like, oh, we can declare war on Hexoatl. Get some money back. Mazamundi's not really gonna attack us over there. And even if he does, like, it's... I don't really care necessarily too much about that territory. It's nice if I can hold it, but it's not critical. There is a bit of a risk right here of getting attacked by Frot or getting ambushed by Frot. I mean, I do have an ambush myself, but he's just better at it. So, and this is where things get a bit nasty. But I do think, like, even if he ambushes me, things will work out in my favor. This is where you may want to save again. Why would you want to save again? Because we're just about to kick up the hornet's nest. We're going to declare war on Arbol. Or rather, we're going to have Malachi go to war with Arbol. And so that will give us a lot of flexibility. And we're going to start building a legion so actually Malachi can do. So Arbol's incentive in a campaign is going to be to... Okay, Frot... He retreated to help it. That is interesting. So Gastalton came and ruined my day. Bit unfortunate. But you will, one of the nice things about this position is you do have cafe and caravans showing up. Unfortunately, you took 4 to struck, so that ends up actually sucking. I bet we can tackle that. Just a bit of money that is needed. And then we turn around and deal with a number of things. Like, some of the best cafe and caravan factions are not the Dissenter Lords, by the way, just to be clear on this. But rather like Jade Custodians, Imperial Wardens, those kind of things, right? Yeah, Yin can be a great one, too. And yes, we now declare war on Archeon, too. The reason we do all of this shit is because we obviously don't want... Right, we obviously don't want to have a situation on our hands where Boris... Like, we want to remove as much pressure from Boris Ursus as we possibly can. That is the goal over here. That is the fundamental campaign goal that we do have in this kind of situation. We can also declare war on these guys, but I think I'll want to help it first. Because Stalin kind of... If you take a rock like this, you might say, oh, it's a great thing. It's kind of great, not necessarily as fun as you might think, though. Regardless, we go deal with the Skaven, we fight them. Now, you can kind of double dip over here, so let me just explain this. Dynamic, if you will, in this situation. Alright, so we can kind of double dip here. Because there is a pretty strong garrison right there in Helpit. Is Katrin at war with Clan Mulder? Yes, she is. Good. So we do want to take advantage of that. And see whenever deals... Like, some factions you can just declare war on and get a deal, peace deal with them at one point or another. Let's see, who's she? Moonlight. Yeah. Alright. We actually want to use the corruption. So what do I mean by the idea, oh, you can double dip? Well, here's what you can do. They will run away. That's fine. And then you attack them. You kill them. You get supporters from Katrin and Castalton here by fighting this battle, but obviously you don't necessarily need to defeat the garrison. You just need to win to kill the Lord here. Not really a problem. Although maybe I should probably bring Ostankya over here too. So you fight this battle, and you fight it manually, specifically manually. And you can even leave Helpit alive if you want to. You could just sack it and then take it over, whatever, right? That's on you. But what you just want to do is win this battle, reduce the number of units that are in Helpit, but crucially, you would also have a second battle. So you would not just gain 10 supporters with Katrin and Castalton, because they're both at war fraught. You would gain 20 with each of them, because like this would count as 10, then another 10. Pretty sure that's how that works. Okay, so after the battle, which ended up being a bit of a larger scale battle than I imagined, we can now occupy Helpit. As a tier 3 settlement, we can get rid of the barracks, we can get some patriarch capacity over there if we wanted to, and we can move this Ataman to Helpit. Why would we move him in Helpit? Well, he's going to gain more experience for the process than he otherwise would. But yeah, we just want to get some armor cossars first and foremost over here before we start getting that patriarch capacity. So he's going to gain more experience simply because Helpit has that high level of control penalties. Research-wise, you want to get Convalescence or ignore Convalescence. Though, in this case, I do want it because I don't have any Patriarch. So I do want to get that kind of benefit. And yeah, just repair the main settlement building of Hell Pit. Money-wise, don't be... I'm not too concerned about that situation whatsoever. Besides, we can get trade agreements. Now, you're going to gain Ataman experience through Hell Pit for 2 reasons. One, the resource gives experience for Atamans. If we can get it to tier 3, right? But 2, if you have a low level of control in a settlement, which you will because of the high level of scale and corruption, then that's also going to give Ataman's experience. So you just want, like, Hellpet is good from that point of view. You can also, well, okay, so Kastalton takes for Stragov, little shit. Fair enough. Guess the decision is made for me in a way. I can either go deal at, yeah, it would have been nice to deal with Azazel to take for Stragov myself. It would have given me some money, but that's fine. I would wait another turn until you use the corruption benefit here. But as you can see, the financial situation has already vastly improved in this situation. So if we look at Kastalton over here, if we look at the Ice Court over here, we can already see some benefits relationship-wise. So this Ataman is going to get leveled up, and what we want to do is get Court Sanctioned and Groundbreaker. Or Ambassador, one or the other. But yeah, over here I'm just going to increase that Patriarch capacity, which means I have some time to kill right here, so I'm going to use that time wisely. But just pay attention to what's going on over here, because like, yeah, there's various options that you could pursue. I don't want to declare war on a Kisa faction, though Azazel is likely to declare war on another faction if I'm not careful. Now, it's a bit nice to get alliance with Ostermark, and the reason is, with that alliance with Ostermark, it's not really about the alliance with Ostermark, it's about getting freaking vision with Alabayim. And that is even more money. See, the Empire is filled with a bunch of minor factions that give you some really nice, tangible benefit. I don't really care how Kastalin feels about me marching through his territory, so I'm gonna do it anyway. Alright, how much do we need? 25, so yeah, just don't forget to do this every single turn. Maybe I could, but do I want to? I'm gonna wait one more turn with regards to that. But yeah, we do want to get the lair of the Troll King. So as you can see, I'm at war with Archeon and Arbol, but crucially Boris is not. But my diplomatic relation, because I'm fighting chaos, I'm fighting factions they dislike, I'm at war with factions they dislike, my relationship with Boris is improving. The ideal scenario for Ostankya, like, the Eastern Oblast is irrelevant. Like, if it gets burned to the ground 100 times over, I don't really give a shit, basically. That's my perspective on that. So now we can just march on Trog. And over here, maybe I don't even get that Patriarch. Maybe I get some Ice Court support, you know, just balance things out right here. So yeah, just go for that, and we can use this benefit and unlock Ostankya's, one of Ostankya's quest battles right here. But that kind of campaign movement range that she's getting over there is pretty crazy. As you can see, we can start we're gonna level up Yetkich because we can see that army of Arbol that's heading that way. Not really too big of a problem yet. We can force march this army. Alright, so this would be... This is really the kind of situation where you really need to fight things fucking manually. Because otherwise the penalties you're going to get are going to be pretty extreme. I don't really care too much right now. Like, I actually am going to benefit from that experience gain with Atom, so I'm going to keep things as it is. Like, I do still want to get to tier 3. We still want... As long as Volksgrad stands, then I'm fine. Surprisingly. So that's 2 turns away from being leveled up. We can get more debuffs. More buffs, more debuffs. I just keep crafting this. What you really want to unlock here is the teleportation. So faster we can unlock that, the better off you'll be, the much better off you'll be. Get Convalescence, and then get, you know, get Iron River Stone. Iron River Stone. Okay. So we would lose some spiders, and... Is it worth fighting this battle manually? It's an interesting one. Maybe... if I spend more skills. The one item you do want to... The one skill you want to get with your Hag Witches is actually the Mother Knows Best skill. Because it's just really, really useful. As a skill. So maybe if we buff a couple of things... I'm a bit questionable on that whole topic. Buying Wind... Get more Buying Wind over there. So item... without resolve, just worth pointing out. Without resolve, items, skills, I'm not sure if debuffs would apply. And that would actually worsen it. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to be lazy right there. But no, fortunately, that's not really going to work. So I'm going to have to fight this manually. If I could get Castalton to join in, though, would be pretty good. But unfortunately, we cannot. What about Katrin? No, she's not going to join in either. That's kind of where things start kicking you. Like, if you do this well as Ostankya, so we could recruit some troops. He doesn't have the movement range right here, so we might just be able to recruit a couple of troops right there to stop them dead in their tracks in that settlement. Might be worth it, might not be worth it. Who's he at war with? So he's at war with... It depends on where his principal army is, right? I think I'm just going to recruit... What do I want to recruit? Strongholder. Let's go with a Boyar. Like, I don't see any troops there. So we're just going to recruit that. Oh, his experience is almost level 2. Okay. Right. So we need to take the settlement. Take the settlement. We'll obviously sell it to Malachi. But this is one scenario that can happen. After this point, yeah, you just throw 2 stacks against Archeon and Arbol. Like, the reason you want to sell Frozen Landing and all that stuff. We could also sell Hell Pit to Castalton if we really wanted to get him involved in a war. But I kind of don't want to at this point, really. Like, the way to confederate a faction is to either have them really weak or... I could go with Plesk. Like, I could sell the Eastern Oblast to Katrin and get her to fight the war for me and ensure that she's more willing to confederate as a result of this. The downside of doing this, well, let's just say there's clear, obvious downsides. But on the flip side, how much do I care about Katrin having a lot of territory? So there's kind of different perspectives on this. You have these choices to make, right? Like, do you sell territory to Katrin, Castalton to try and get them involved? Because that's one of the things to keep in mind. Like, getting these guys involved to actually defend the freaking front line is a really important feature of this campaign. Like, you know, we just sell Perlesk, we get her involved in this entire affair, we sell this settlement. We might even be able... Like, the only settlement that I care about over here is actually Volksgrad itself. Volksgrad itself. What about Castalton? Okay. So, anyway, we are going to sort all of this out. So with Trog defeated, we might even get Malachite. A little fun. Or we could just leave Trog as he is, or get Castalton to declare war on Trog. There are possibilities over here. It's better in some ways to focus perhaps on the Eastern Front as opposed to the Western one. Like, you can conquer Norska, but then Archeon will just destroy Boris Ursus. I mean, that you can delay that war that's gonna happen between them, but you can't stop it. Okay, we got Lair of the Troll King. Yeah, so I'm just gonna sell it to Malachi. He'll give me the most amount of money in this situation. Playing to our strengths. I could sell that to Katrin. I mean, she's already at war with Arbol. If I don't see another army... and there is another alternative here. Yeah, that's gonna give me some Ice Court supporters, as you can see. We could also go fight... we can also go fight Astrogoth at this stage. Though be, again, mindful a bit about like some of the decisions you make over here, because like, yeah, you do want to go into the Darklands. It is an incredibly beneficial thing to do, but be aware of the consequences of doing so. Anyway, we can sell this to Katrin, so we can get Pless back if we really wanted to, or get an alliance with her. Now, obviously, we don't want to lose the chicken hut, right? So, but as you can see, we can get the public order, so Watchman. We can switch to the public order commandment over here and help it. But the Ataman right now is going to get like 200 experience per turn, which is pretty solid, all things considered, and we're going to benefit from that. So well, we may want to maintain that level of low level of control right there. We could also sell Volskrad to Katrin. There he is. There he is. So one of your goals, if you will, yeah, Archeon is going over there for Boris Ursus. It would be the ideal to get Boris Ursus. What the hell is Malachi doing? Well, I'm not gonna complain about that one. Although I might. Actually, because hilariously enough, it's actually not useful in this situation. So I'm just gonna get rid of him. Because I want the second Patriarch over here in this location. So now we get the Golden Knight quest, a Coven thing. So the Coven quests, I don't really think they're that difficult, really. Or are they? Let's take a look. Yeah, it's not really hard, per se. Although, did I go for a coven? Yes, I did go for the coven. Occupy Cauldron of Power. We can give these regiments renowned to Ostankya, just, you know, just in case, right? Hold on. Let's merge. Then get rid of one of these. Yep, so get flea-footed right there. The higher supporters, what we're gonna do with those? Well, what we're going to do with more supporters is for the Orthodoxy, we're going to get duties rewards, so experience when fighting against chaos, or we're gonna get resource buildings have no construction costs. Though I don't need that until I can get help to tier 3, by the way. I can always stop the bleeding here if I just, you know, stop income and all that. But as it stands, why would I? Provincial instability. Like, literally, I have no reason to do that, because my Ataman just gain more and more levels. Prague is gaining a level. So yeah, we got that quest battle to fight. We got Arbol coming in. And once we get a military alliance with Catherine, it's gonna be a lot better. I could dismiss this building, but I need those supporters. Right, so 4 turns. This is one of the reasons why Boris Ursus is better, because Kislev is about building stuff slowly, whereas Boris Ursus does have that construction construction speed in his campaign. So yeah, you can focus on... Alright, let's just give him that objective. And I would kind of prefer... do I care? Wing Lancers would be nice to hold on to be sure, but outside of that, I really don't give a shit if Catherine gets wiped out over here. In fact, it might be beneficial because it would guarantee my confederation. She does have armies, though. So, yeah, it's always good. But yeah, just gonna go for a Coven quest battle. With the battle resolved, we do have the ability of using the Coven's curse mark. We can even upgrade it to halt an entire army in its tracks. This is where things start getting crazy for Ostankya. And you can get even more stuff, her entire special skill line being one of them. Upgrading Witch Brew, start getting more of that sweet, sweet lore of hags. More spells, more abilities, more power available in this campaign. Hawks of Miska, Winds of Magic, getting some hags. Though I probably only want to get one over here, or maybe 2. Depends on, you know, how I want to view things in Nagrand over there. Still, regardless of that, our bowl is coming. So if you get to this stage, right, if you manage to unlock this and you're in a decent enough position like I am over here, it's kind of GG well played. It's just about like dealing with fraud, ensuring that Boris Ursus survives long enough that you can potentially confederate him. And once that's done, once you've secured all of those things, you've won, pretty much. And Catherine didn't quite defeat Arbol, interestingly enough. But she certainly made some sweet progress. And now we can just focus Ostankya's efforts on Astrogov, deal with Archeon. And maybe, who knows, maybe Boris wins against Archeon, maybe he doesn't. You can't really control that, right? It's like, we get the quest battle over here. We do have a bit of an advantage with the Orthodoxy. So, yeah, so Catherine didn't defeat Arbol, But, well, maybe she didn't need to. Should I get rid of the bats? Nah. Keys of Eye Warriors. They're good units, should be sure, but I would rather have Classers. So Boris did defeat Archeon. It's kind of an interesting dynamic to think about, because, like, if you distract Archeon, then it might mean that Boris gets the upper hand in that situation early on in a campaign. And if that happens, well, when you do confederate Boris, you will have a very significant level of force yourself. So what do I want here? Yeah, another Case of Eye Warrior. Spread the love of Ostankya. As you can see, he's getting foreman, but we do want to get him to level 5. So it's like once we get to level 5 with him, that's when things get a lot better. And we can keep researching this kind of benefit over here for extra recruitment capacity. He's gonna run. I wasn't surprised by that. A bit of an unpleasant one, to be sure, though. In a certain way. I think I can get rid of the structure over here and in there. It's a bit of a shame we can't use this in allied territory, because that would be really damn powerful. So look at Arbol, the defeated, the wasteless waste of damn human space. So Malachi is invading Fraud. He may win, he may not win. I don't know. Think he would win. He did win. It didn't quite go exactly according to plan, but Malachi's army is kind of disposable, really. Yes, that is the one downside of the giant spiders, which is why you kind of don't care of them at one point. They're actually really bad in auto-resolve, funnily enough. I don't know why. I really can't explain why they're so bad in auto-resolve. All I can just say is they are bad in auto-resolve. As for the reason, your guess is as good as mine why a unit with that kind of level of armor is bad in our resolve. If anyone has a clue, let me know. I would be very interested in finding the explanation for that. So at this point, we do just want to give her a Frost Maiden. Yeah, we can take some armor Kossars, because I think, like, Ostankya could really use that. And with Arbol defeated, that's pretty much it. You can get the embodiment of forest. Funnily enough, there's a lot of forests over here, aren't there? You can use that. As for Katrin, well, this is where we can pull off all the bullshit stops in order to get an alliance, to get the Confederation of Katrin. Maybe we declare war on him. That's one benefit right there. So that's going to make her more likely to join in the fun. We declare war on Astrogoth. That might join in more fun. But what we really want here is for her to join the war against Archeon. If we can manage that... you might wonder why Confederate... Okay, so he's at war with Azazel. That could go well, could go very poorly. But, so what's the situation right here? 5 turns away, but that's fine. So Archeon is in effect dead. Arbol is still pushing onward though. I could also try and get another army right there. Might also sell the Southern Oblast or help it to Kastaltin. So let's see what Catherine has to say about joining my little war against... Okay. Not quite enough. Yes, we gotta go Trunk and Felix. Don't be foolish and go against that Bell. You do need more units, and I would recommend some like fast-moving units. If you're gonna go for the Gotrek and Felix Bal, just keep making stuff. Maybe some higher level magic if we're gonna pull that off. Realistically, so I would need more levels, more stuff to really get that going. I don't want to sell Volskra just yet, and you want to be a bit careful with how you handle some of the stuff because... Okay, so he's at war with Azazel. I don't know if he's gonna win, if he's gonna lose. Regardless, what you want to get here, yeah, Dutier's reward, and the minion you want. I mean, I could ignore the training capability in tenets and instead go for hierarchy. I think I'm gonna get her security subsidies. That's gonna be a Frost Maiden, boys and girls. That's gonna be a Frost Maiden. That's gonna be good. Good, good, good. How far away are we? 145? We can also go even... Like, one of the reasons you want to ally Malachi is he will build artillery. See, Kislev does benefit a lot from allied recruitment from an artillery perspective. And ends up doing... As for the Demon Prince, I wouldn't be too worried too much about him. Though you do want to go after him, right? It's like, so the cosign you want to sell to Malachi, go for the Demon Prince. Going for the Demon Prince will make your Confederation life easier because he has that defeat trait that gives you a relationship with Kislev. So, yeah, make sure you get that because it is useful. So, did Catherine lose her main army? Seems like it. Shocking adventure. I guess she fought an army, defeated it, or didn't necessarily. But that's just gonna make life easier. I can sell this territory to her. Alright, so that's another XP level for him. We can get more Informant. But we're still not at level 5 with regards to him. Casualty replenishment, Urson's Roar, Torp's Battle Hymn. For Hag Witch, Protective Charms, Witch Brew. Like, Witch Brew is a really nasty damn spell. Like, out of those kind of spells that, you know, hit in a line like that, it's kind of scary how effective Witch Brew is, actually. Just diversifying your... Like, if you're ever struggling in a battle situation, yeah, that's an option. We can also... Alright. We should have enough, but they're not considered part of our territory, damn it. Oh well. So we got a lovely little ambush over here. There's other things we can do. But Catherine does seem she's going on that path of becoming more and more viable for the sake of Confederation. But yeah, you can see Boris sources. Speaking about Boris, actually, like, could we maybe get them to actually do something fucking useful over here? Like, you know, go after our bull. Well, well, well. And there we go. Campaign is won. Essentially. We got Catherine, we got our territory back. We got Kislev City. We got a lot of fucking shit here, actually. Jeez, Catherine. You're not fucking joking, are you? Yeah, it's mostly crap, but we can go after, Izak. And even better. Should I be a bit concerned about that? I mean, he does have a garrison there and his own army, so, but if he loses that, that would probably suck. Yeah, Imperial Wardens, it's this stage where things start going exactly the way you want them to. Some more Ottomans. I think I'll put one in Kislev City. If Kislev City is a tier 3 settlement, yes, it is a tier 3 settlement. I'll actually get the Ottoman structure right there. Prague would be good, but... I guess Kislev City is generating more. I'm going to get rid of this structure, though. I'm going to keep that right there. Yeah, I know. I need money. Alright. We'll take that. Keep in mind, it does count as fighting against chaos. So what do we do here? And that also gives me vision with other people, too. And now we can get... Well, maybe I should send fucking Catherine over there. What do I know? Yeah, probably. But with Karl France, we can declare war on Kazrak, get a bit of money through that kind of affair. And now we're just gonna march on Arbol and destroy him. So there's a lot of diplomatic maneuvering bullshit that you can pull off in this campaign. What I do wonder about is whether or not... Yeah, I think I'm gonna... yeah, so 3 turns over there. No penalty on Confederation right there. So yeah, we're gonna keep Help It. It is a bit of a shame because I would like to Confederate Castalton, but it's like just better if I don't. For the time being. Yeah, Catering is gonna have a little adventure in Nagron. Sounds about right. Maybe I should have gotten a Frost Maiden over there. Because it's so much for that extra capacity I was hoping to use in Nagron. But I guess that's where Catron comes in. Anyway. So now I just sweep aside anyone that stands in the Skull Road. Malachi is doing work, I'm not gonna lie. And he's not gonna get wiped out. Besides, he doesn't have anything specific in those elements that's important. So yeah, oh. Malachi might just kill a fucking Demon Prince for me. So much for that defeat rate I was hoping to get my hands on. How things play out may end up being a fairly different... But yeah, this is where the insanity of Kislev really starts being felt. Like, when you start just, like, steamrolling shit. I wonder if Castellan's gonna win. Shit. I mean, I'm interested. Not gonna lie. Yeah, we got Western Provinces, Jade Court, all that good stuff. And diplomatic relations continue to rise and rise. Still gotta be a bit careful, though. But fun fact, the Griffinwood is worth a lot of damn stuff. In the sense that if you take out the Griffinwood, you can get extremely rich very, very quickly. We have money there. Ain't that gonna be a kicker? Sometimes overextending oneself can have negative consequences, severe negative consequences. Oh, snatch. So I'm well aware that my armies are, it's a bit crazy how many forces I have at this stage. Yeah, disband that, take us and take, the moment you can start advancing into an empire and claiming imperial territory, it's like just done. Just completely freaking done. So there's only one trajectory after this point, up. I could obviously sell things for... I could get Help It. Give Help It to him. He keeps it. Yeah, at one point you just stop giving a shit about this, because, like, yeah, you got power. But I'm going to move that Ottoman to Prague. And then sell Help It to Kastalden. And get that money. There's the Demon Prince. Let's see if Malachi has the military force required. So at this stage, I would just destroy Arbol, maybe Confederate Borisersus. Hopefully with that Confederation, I would sort, things out. Hard to say, though. Can I win this? Yep, I think so. I might have to use a couple of those nasty debuffs, though. Also, I might have to force march this army right here. Maybe not in that context. We'll see. Although maybe I should get him to get involved in the war against against Astrogoth. So that I balance things out with orthodoxy and all that. So yeah, that's kind of the cutoff point. Like, basically, like, the moment you confederate either Catra and Kastalden, provided their faction strength is significant enough, it's like, GG, well played, you've won. That's it. Like, that's basically all there is to it. That's how you play Ostankya's campaign. With regards to all of these buffs, like, you're not just making them for the, shits and giggles for the sake of unlocking top bar abilities. So obviously that's the main reason you're making them. But it's also the tangible benefit, like, you get the battle like this. Can you win this battle? Yeah, sure. It would be tricky, but you can guarantee the win by just, you know, putting a bunch of physical resistance debuffs on some of these units, right? So it's like just debuff these guys, all of these guys, debuffed. I know it's a tedious as fuck affair. I am well aware of that. But it does work very well. So don't underestimate that. And you can buff your own units too at the same time. So like, you know, doing all of this. That's Ostankya's main campaign mechanic. Wish it was better, not gonna lie. Certainly wish it was a better mechanic than what we ultimately end up getting. But, hey, it does get the job done, right? So that's probably all you can ask from that. The flaming attacks. Yeah, I would take the Griffin Wood right here. Forests, Wood Elfin Forests. 6 turns until it gets to tier 4. Nice stuff. Can I replace her with Katrin? Sometimes you do get lucky and, you know. There we go. And Katrin's in a good position. But yeah, I'm just going to recruit an entire stack of forces. What kind of traits did she go for anyway? Yeah, she actually got some useful stuff. Other things not necessarily so useful. Can I get a Patriarch? Yeah, actually I can get multiple Patriarchs even. So that might work out for the best. We also got quest bells galore, all that kind of stuff that we can do. Gotrek and Felix, etc. So that's about it. That's really about it. Like, just sort all that. Or I could just ignore Draika and just, you know, pay the price, I guess. I think I'm just going to disband these guys over here, because we don't really need all of them. We just need the Akshinas and, you know, armored stuff. Vengeance of the Forest. That's all I had to say. Questine signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. Boris campaign is generally going to be better. Like, I could have pushed for a confederation with Kastalten by going for Azazel over there if I wanted to. I could even still do it right now. Like, all I need to do is just sell him a bunch of shit over here, get him involved in more wars, improve that diplomatic relations situation over here in this campaign. Probably just sell this entire damn province, right? Like, if I was to be looking at confederating Kastalten, here's what I would do, right? Just as an idea, like a consideration in a campaign like this. Like, just sell Zavastra, get money, you know, and then we can sell a bunch of other things like Beckhaven and all that stuff, right? It's like, just keep selling stuff, get him involved in as many fucking wars as possible. Eventually, he will get to a point where, and because you're taking all of his money, he doesn't have the ability of recovering from his enemies, right? So you are legit screwing him over with this kind of stuff. So, you know, we can, though you may not want to trade things that are actually in development, right? And obviously territories with barracks. So I can sell Vitevo right there for Zavastra, I guess. Maybe. No. But we can keep doing this stuff again and again and again and again, and even take money he doesn't have, or wait one turn, or something along those lines. And eventually, he's just going to get to that point where it's like he's just going to be willing to confederate with us. That's simply how it's going to work. So we sell Igorov. We could sell... yeah, I guess I could. I could wait a bit. I don't know. Why wait? When you can get him involved in another war against, say, Drek. So that is something like, you can think of like region trading as an exploit and all that. It's an exploit, I feel like, when you're just constantly trading regions back and forth. It is an exploit when you're taking money that the AI has. I do not consider it an exploit to just give territory away to a faction in order to ensure a confederation. That is not something I consider an exploit. Right? So make of that what you will. Kostin signing out.